which quarterback is in the best position to succeed?
I'll tell you what, I think it's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'll tell you, I was dismayed. I was upset at the audacity of some people to claim that the Cincinnati Bengals are the worst place in the NFL for a quarterback to go to. Do those people not realize that the Bengals have had 6 10-win seasons since 2003 when they drafted Carson Palmer? That's the same number as the Dallas Cowboys and more than the Chargers, Giants, and 49ers were in the Super Bowl last year. And do those same people not realize that the Cincinnati Bengals quarterbacks since 2003 have thrown 414 touchdown passes for 13th best in the NFL during that time period? That's not 32, 25, or 20. But people want to keep preaching that the Cincinnati Bengals are the worst place for a quarterback to go. I am incredibly upset by that kind of talk. And whoever said it, I want to talk to that person right now.
Well, you talking to him now. Mel. Ain't nobody hiding. It would be me, Mel. I would be that guy. That would be me, Mel.
What a shocker.
I appreciate it. And listen, let's be very, very clear. You have forgotten more football than I would ever know. That's not the issue here, okay?
That's not true.
What I'm saying to you is this. Here's the deal. The Cincinnati Bengals, I wasn't talking about the games that they won in the regular season, nor was I talking about the talent that they've been able to accumulate over the years. I'm talking about the culture that has existed because you haven't, well, not just the fact that Marvin Lewis was coaching for 16 years and couldn't win one playoff game. Now, he deserves to be a head coach in the NFL. He just damn sure didn't need to be in Cincinnati any longer. But what I'm saying to you is this. I'm speaking about a culture. The culture of the Cincinnati Bengals, Mel Kiper, dictates where you have management notoriously cheat, willing to cut corners, and not willing to go all out to create a culture that basically exudes a winning environment. That was my issue. Nothing else about the Cincinnati Bengals. That might change under Zach Taylor. We haven't seen evidence of that yet. It might change, but historically, their culture, because of Mike Brown and that ownership, please, you can't defend that, Mel Kiper. You can't do it.
Yes,
it's a cheap ownership.
Stephen A., you're wrong. You're all wrong. Everybody's wrong. This culture has been to 2 Super Bowls. This culture was there with Mike Brown, with Kenny Anderson, with Boomer Esiason. I talked to Mike Brown prior to that draft in 1984. Boomer Esiason, a few years later, was in a Super Bowl that they almost won had it not been for that great drive in the final minute by Joe Montana. Wait a minute. And then, after that, you mentioned Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis has had some bad luck. Carson Palmer was hurt against the Steelers, early in that game. Vontaze Burfict with the penalty against the Steelers when they thought they had that game won. Like Marty Schottenheimer had bad luck with some fumbles in the Elway drive. Hey, you're not a loser when you have bad luck in the playoffs. You're not a loser when you lose that way in the playoffs.
Mel, you just brought up examples of what the Bengals were when I was at Thomas Edison High School in Queens, New York. Come on, Mel. That's in the 80s. In the 80s.
It's the same culture then as it is now, the way they do. Mike Brown is still good. Mike Brown, do you realize it's the same culture that was to 2 Super Bowls? 4 teams in the NFL have never been to a daggone Super Bowl. They've been to 2. Carson Palmer has success. Andy
there are
Dalton
32 teams. Mel, there are 32 teams in the NFL, meaning every 16 years on average. If you're an average team, you should get to a Super Bowl every 16 years anyway. Every 32 years, you should win one. But those so four organizations are even worse. But the Bengals
are not brought up.
Significantly below average. But the Bengals are significantly. The answer to the question, which quarterback is in the best position to succeed, is Tua Tagovailoa. He's going to a program, for lack of a better word, to a team that who looked like we were asking the question seriously. We weren't the only ones asking, is this Dolphins team going to be the worst team of all time? It looked like they quit, but they had a coach who got it together, and they traded away talent mid-season, some of their best players, but they got it together, rallied, won 5 games, including a must-win game for the Patriots on the last game of the season. Yeah, who's calling me?
Right.
Mel Kiper Jr. Hold on, Mel.
Yeah.
Mel Kiper Jr. brought up the Bengals, okay? and their success at a time when I showed up to school with a dashiki on. That's how long ago that was, Max. That's how long ago that was. The Bengals ain't been in the Super Bowl since 1988. Come on, Mel. Are you kidding me?
Listen. Don't talk. Just listen for a second. The Bengals have made the playoffs 7 times since 2003. 7 times since 2003, Stephen A. Only 10 teams have made the playoffs more than that. And that's since 2000. The Browns have had 0. The Raiders have had 1. The Dolphins have had 2. So only 10 teams have had more playoff appearances than the Bengals since 2003. Not 1893, 2003, Stephen A. So this
When's the last time they won a playoff game?
Living in the 80s is
When's the last time they won a playoff game?
They're in the playoffs. They didn't win. Marty Schottenheimer was a heck of a coach. He had bad luck. He didn't get to the Super Bowl. Would you rather be a team never gets to the playoffs, but nobody's going to talk about you? But how dare you get to the playoffs and lose? You got to be the worst in the league if you do that.
They're a below-average franchise. Right. I mean, there's no way around that. You could argue they're not as bad as advertised, but they're below average.
Don't single them out. Well, then there's a lot of below-average franchises in the NFL then.
Yes, there are some below-average franchises. They're one of them. Yeah. Can I get back to Tua for a second or no? Can we talk about Tua Tagovailoa for a second?
I'm not.
Tua is set up in Miami.
Go ahead, Max.
Tua is set up in Miami, a team that, as I said, showed the pluck to keep fighting late in the season. It looked like it was beyond lost, like it was going to be an historical embarrassment. They added pieces through free agency in the offseason. They go into the draft, get them a tackle, get them a corner. Now, these guys aren't like, this year they're going to be amazing. But this is a team whose culture is headed in the right direction and who now has potential stars at some of the most important positions. The Dolphins, not just this year, but over the course of this Tua rookie deal, are set up to challenge for a Super Bowl if Tua doesn't get hurt. That's the big question mark. But they set him up lovely.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.